Recently, we had the pleasure to cook with Kurt Dunham of Lawrence Dunham Vineyards in a kitchen, and he actually shared a little tip with us about his wine pairings and the way that he brings wine into his day. And he goes a little bit backwards. A lot of times we're used to pairing our wines with our dishes, but he actually told us at that taping that he chooses his wine based on the day and based on his mood, which I thought was pretty interesting. Yeah. And then after talking with you, you do the same thing.
In more cases than not, you yourself, you know what wine you like, right?
Absolutely.
Would it make sense to get the wine that you like and then find a dish that paired with that wine? You know you like the wine.
I think it would be a lot easier. Yep. Because you know the wines that you like, or like he said, the mood. And I think that's interesting too, because sometimes we're in the mood for a white, or we're in the mood for a red, or a light, full, medium body.
Or the weather will dictate our mood, right? Okay. Yeah, so, you know, when I think about a meal and I'm preparing for it, I find myself in the grocery store heading to the wine aisle first, all right? And then it's going to dictate what I'm going to eat, because I might be looking for something on special. I might be looking for something that...
in specific.
Yeah, I'm looking for something that rings a bell with me, and then I go and I structure the meal around that.
And a lot of times I do the same thing, because a lot of times don't know what I'm making for dinner, and I go to the grocery store and I think I want a nice bottle of wine.
It's your inspiration.
Right, and so you're searching for that wine. You get the wine, and then you think, okay, what would be good with this wine? So it makes sense.
Right.
So as we're here today, we're doing things a little bit backwards again.
Well, maybe we're redefining the way it should be done.
That's a good point. Okay. That's a good way to look at it.
Right,
so now we'll have people buying their wines first and then planning the meal around the wine.
Yeah. And we can hear the buzzer going off in the distance because our meal is ready at this point. And what we did is we took this Zinfandel. All right, now when we think of Zinfandels, we're thinking jam, fruit forwardness. If we go as far as some of the higher end Zins, they're like jam on toast. As a sommelier and structuring wine programs in restaurants and wine bars, I've always gone directly to this particular Zinfandel for the sole reason that this is not your typical jammy Zin, but this is actually a Zin that's going to exhibit some spice. Baking spices, white pepper spice. Our dish that we're having today, that we have prepared, is going to be an herbaceous meal. It's actually stuffed tomatoes, and this is a meal coming from an old family recipe that's been in my family. My mom married a Frenchman when I was 9 years old. That changed the way we ate, right? This dish I've been eating since I was 9, and it was one of those, when it was announced what we're having for dinner, nobody missed the meal.
I was going to say, I know what's in there, and I'm not so sure that I could have gotten my kids to eat that.
We've got bay leaves, we've got garlic, we've got thyme, and we've got parsley, herbaceous. And this spicy Zin is going to, using the principle of like with like, is going to complement each other, the spiciness of the food and the spiciness of the wine.
Right, so just for my clarity as well, because you're spicy, I can almost taste that. But when you talk about a jammy wine and jam on toast, can you kind of help us get our palates working on that?
Well, Zinfandels, especially from the Lodi area, they're a little bit more simple, or a little bit more approachable in the sense that they have more residual sugar. In the wine world, we call that fruit forward.
Okay.
All right, so Zinfandels are notorious for that residual sugar.
So they're being a little sweeter.
Yeah, they're a little
like
sweeter.
Jam.
Yep, like jam. But not always. And this is a perfect example of that one that steps off the beaten path and turns into a great food pairing wine.
Okay, so you didn't pick it because of the label today?
Actually, I went and picked that and then figured out what I was going to eat.
Because it looks like a tomato. So that's why I figured you did it. Well, awesome. I'm excited to try what well, I know too much, so I have to be really careful what I say right now, because he's got a fabulous meal planned for us today. We're so excited, but I don't want to give too much away. But the wine, we've done it backwards, and we've got to sample the wine. I love the wine. I actually probably would serve this with a variety of dishes outside of what you're making today, because it still seems light enough to even maybe serve it with a lighter meal like a salad or a fish. Am I right on that?
Sure, sure.
It is smelling so good. Don't go away. When we come back, we're going to learn about the dish that was a staple in David's family.